What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast number 4. I'm here. I'm here with Mike Greenberg Gaming.
What's up, guys?
What's up? All right, cool. So we got 2 news stories for you today. First one's about John Stewart. He's leaving the Daily Show on Comedy Central. We'll talk about that. Second thing we're going to talk about is Spiderman and the whole Sony Marvel deal. But yeah, you want to jump right into it?
Yeah, you guys know how this podcast works. We talk about stuff, and John Stewart, obviously one of the best broadcasters of our day. He's going to leave Comedy Central at the end of this year.
He's been doing it for 17 years.
Yeah, since 99, I believe. So we're pretty sad to see him go. Both of us are pretty big John Stewart fans.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
I mean, I just loved his work. I would always watch his show during, bedtime and just be cheered up by my day. Like, I felt sad to watch the show and felt happy. He's just a funny guy and made politics fun.
Yeah, he really revolutionized the news for the younger generation. I was looking at a survey the other day, and he's the second most watched late night show of people our age, ages like 17 to 35, which doesn't surprise me because he makes the news funny, he makes it enjoyable to watch, and it's not like the boring news shows where it's like, oh, blah, 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 we're going to talk about the news.
And he rips on the Democrats and the Republicans.
Yeah, that's a point that I wanted to make, that he's fair about it. He's not trying to push his agenda on anybody. He just likes making fun of everyone.
Especially Bill O'Reilly. Which brings me to my next point. Bill O'Reilly should take over the Daily... No, I'm just kidding.
Let's not do that.
But they're so similar. They have all the same viewpoints and hairline and... No.
They totally don't disagree on anything at all.
Yeah.
I was watching the 2012 election debate between Bill O'Reilly and John Stewart, and he said one of my favorite lines I've ever heard in politics.
What?
A government that governs best governs best.
Does it? Really?
Yeah, but it's such a good point because Bill O'Reilly was going on about how a government that governs least governs best. And I don't necessarily believe that that's true. I mean, a government that does its job best, most efficiently, does it best. It's such a simple statement.
You believe on a strict policy rather than a loose policy?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think it's more important that the government works efficiently rather than how much it does or doesn't do. I think the government needs to do what it does more efficiently. And that's what John Stewart was trying to say. That the involvement of government doesn't matter so much of whether it does it efficiently or not.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Sort of.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the video, but I kind of get it, yeah.
You should watch. It was about an hour and a half long. John Stewart's so funny the whole time. Bill O'Reilly takes it super seriously, as he always does, and John Stewart's just having a good time. He has this little podium thing that he can hit the button on his podium and it raises his stage up and down. It's real funny. He makes himself taller than Bill O'Reilly a couple times. It's just this 5'7" John Stewart's towering over 6'4" Bill O'Reilly.
I like that.
It's really great. So who do you want to take over the Daily Show?
I tried to think of it. I couldn't think of anyone.
And I agree with you. There's no one who I want to take over the Daily Show.
Yeah.
I just kind of want it to end because, I mean, they've had a couple intern guys do the Daily Show. I don't know if you've seen. He was out for a little while.
Yeah.
And it's just not as good. It doesn't have the same John Stewart feel that the Daily Show.
But that's what John Stewart said when he was leaving in his video. I want someone to take over for me. So, someone's going to do it.
Someone's going to do it, but I don't know if I'm going to keep watching, to be honest with you.
No,
because
I'm probably going to keep watching.
I'll give it a shot, but John Stewart is John Stewart. You can't... He's an irreplaceable guy. He's one of the best broadcasters, not only of our generation, of all time, I would argue. So, it's going to be sad to see him go. I can say that much.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
So, another thing in the news, as we mentioned before, was Marvel's going to start working with Sony on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a new Spider-Man movie coming out on July 28th, 2017. And there's going to be a new Spider-Man, and there's going to be a lot of new stuff. And what do you think about all that?
Well, I wasn't a huge fan of Andrew Garfield. I mean, I didn't hate him, but definitely not as good for me as the Tobey Maguire movies. So, starting over could be good, but it's so close to the last Andrew Garfield story. It just... There's so many origin stories, and it's a little, too much.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't the biggest fan of Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. He's not a very good Peter Parker, as many people pointed out. He's just kind of mediocre. I mean, I think they could do better for one of the better superheroes of our time. And as you can see, we're playing Marvel vs. Capcom 3 in the background.
Yeah.
As a little bit of Spider-Man. Marvel, he's probably, Mark is beating the crap out of me with Spider-Man.
Yeah, you won once.
Yeah, I think I got a little lucky. I was doing a little bit of button smashing, but besides the point, Spider-Man's going to make an appearance in Captain America Civil War next year. People are saying, are you excited for that?
Yeah, I wish they wouldn't have told us, and then we just saw Spider-Man in the movie. I would have flipped out.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
Now that I know it might not be as amazing, it's still going to be amazing, but,
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to make like a brief little stint at the end. It's like, take it or leave it.
Tony Stark did that first in the Hulk movie. He just came out of nowhere, and someone's like, so Tony, how about them new suits you've been working on? And then that was it.
Yeah, it's like a little teaser.
Yeah.
It's not that great. So what are your thoughts on Sony letting Marvel use Spider-Man in the Avengers?
I love it. Can't they do it for free? Wasn't that the deal?
I think it's something like, the deal is kind of like, not that much of it was kind of let out into the public. It's kind of not very clear what the details are on that.
Yeah.
But it's clear that Spider-Man's going to be in the Avengers in some way, shape, or form. We don't really know exactly his role yet, but he is going to be in the Avengers.
So Sony still owns Spider-Man, but Marvel's allowed to use him.
Yes, Sony owns Spider-Man, yeah. They're not giving up the rights to Spider-Man. There was no, like, money exchange, none of that.
As long as the Marvel writers are using Spider-Man to write, like, as long as they're writing his story, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, too. I mean, I haven't been a big fan of Sony Spider-Man movies in general. I don't think they've really done Spider-Man justice, and I'm glad that they're letting Marvel use him, especially since he's Marvel's character. He's got over 50 years of comic book lore from Marvel, so it's like, yeah, thanks for finally letting Marvel use Spider-Man, their own hero, who's like one of the better respected heroes in Marvel.
Sony movies weren't horrible, but they were nothing compared to the Marvel movies like Thor and Iron Man.
Oh yeah, I think Marvel would definitely do the Spider-Man movie better. I don't think anyone's questioning that.
Yeah.
Because Sony's like, a lot of the movies coming out of Sony have been like subpar movies.
Yeah.
It's not just like Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
So, who would you like to be Spider-Man?
Oh, John Stewart.
I would love John Stewart to be Spider-Man.
He needs a new job.
So, Spider-Man's a perfect job.
No, on top of John Stewart, my number one, I like Logan Lerman, who played Percy Jackson in those movies. I think he'd be a cool Spider-Man. He's a good actor, and he's a teen white kid, and that's what Spider-Man is. And Drake Bell, because Drake Bell voices Spider-Man in the Disney XD animated show, and his personality is pretty good for Peter Parker. He could look the part too, so I'd be okay with that. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I'd be okay with that.
It's an interesting choice. I mean, I've watched Drake Bell from Drake and Josh. I didn't know of the other guy, Logan Lerman, until today. I mean, I've heard he's one of the main candidates to be Spider-Man. I've never seen him in a movie. So, that's an interesting point that you bring up, that they're going to try to bring Drake Bell in from the animated series to do him live.
I haven't heard anything about that online. I just thought that myself. So there's nothing hinting towards that.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, that would be an interesting concept to kind of see that. There's not many animated and live-action crossovers.
No, there isn't.
So, to see that would kind of be interesting. Like, is the animated as good as the live-action? The voice actor. I don't really have anyone who comes to mind, particularly with Spider-Man. I think # Donald Glover for Spider-Man would be funny just because he brought it up in a comedy sketch one time. And it'd just kind of be funny to see Donald Glover Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but I'm sure that's a funny reference for those who understand it.
Yeah, he's a stand-up comedian. He's in Park and Recreation, and he does rapping. He's pretty.
He raps gifts for Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Not the rapping that you think of. People don't do that.
Yeah,
that's super immature. But there's no one who really stands out for me as Spider-Man. He's not actually one of my better heroes. I mean,
I like him. I think he's up there for me.
I mean, I get why people like him, but like to me, he's just like a web slinger.
I mean, yeah, he is. And Iron Man's just a guy who wears a suit.
Yeah, but I feel like Iron Man... I mean, Iron Man isn't one of my favorites either. I like Batman. If you know anything about me or my channel, you know Batman's my favorite hero. And the reason why I love Batman so much is because of not only of his backstory, but because of, like, his vigilante. Like, he's not always 100% for justice every time. He has his own kind of issues to deal with, too. And I feel like Spider-Man doesn't have that kind of dynamic that some of the other heroes have, if you know what I mean.
I suppose. I'm trying to think of someone who's like that now, but... You mean like fighting an inner struggle with himself?
Yeah, I mean, in the comics especially, if you've ever read any of the Batman comics, it's constantly like, what do I do in this situation? Like, do I fight for what I want or what the people want? You know, Batman has his own interests in stake a lot. And that's not one of the only things I don't like about Spider-Man. I just don't think he's that... He doesn't have that kind of personality that Bruce Wayne has. He's the billionaire who is a superhero by night. You know, Peter Parker's like a high school kid. You know, he doesn't have that same kind of dynamic for me.
Yeah, well, it's just a matter of opinion which origin story you like better.
Yeah, well, could you kind of help out with the origin stories? Because I'm not that familiar with Spider-Man origin stories.
Spider-Man origin story? Well, I haven't read the comics. This is just going off movies, so I might piss a lot of people off. But he is a teenager who gets bit by a spider, and he gets these powers. And in every origin story I've seen, his uncle dies.
Oh yeah.
And then he's just Spider-Man. That's the really general summary of everything that happens. Gets powers, uncle dies.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan. I don't know that much. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's people who've read, like, every issue of every Spider-Man, like, what? How did you forget this crucial plot point? But I've never read Spider-Man comics either, so I do kind of, now that you refreshed my mind on it, do remember I haven't watched a Spider-Man movie in a long time, to be honest with you. So, I mean, I am excited for the Spider-Man movies. Are you excited for the Spider-Man movies?
No, I think it's going to be absolute shit.
I agree.
No, I'm really excited.
I'm glad to hear that you're excited for that. And to leave on a similar note from last time, anything else you'd like to add, Mark?
Yes. There's actually more information of Spider-Man that you could find on the web. Huh? The web? Get it? Okay.
No, I didn't get it. What are you talking about? What web?
STDs. So what are you going to say?
What did you have? Anything else you'd like to say?
No.
All right, great. Thank you guys so much for watching our ridiculous podcast. We have Minecraft every Monday and Wednesday, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
You know the schedule.
You know the schedule. Good news. Check it out. It's a good series.
I believe that concludes it.
Peace.